Support for Just Seen It comes from Fandor, dedicated to supporting independent films and filmmakers. Movies from around the world are available at fandor.com/PTV. Fandor, all for film. Our reviewers talk about the movies they are most excited about in our most anticipated summer movies.
Hi, I'm Leah, and I'm here with Scott and Kevin, and we are here to talk about our most anticipated films of the summer, 2014.
Yes!
We haven't just seen them,
No.
but we've seen a lot of their trailers and read up on them, and, I'm really excited to have this conversation.
Me too. I know you are too, pal.
Yes, I am.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Scott's going to go first.
Okay,
Shocking.
the movie I cannot wait to see this
Yes.
summer. Can you guess what it is?
Yes.
What is it?
The Amazing Spider-Man Part 2.
That is exactly right, sir.
Wow,
And
ding, 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 ding.
Here's why. All of the Spider-Man films, going back to Tobey's first movie in 2002, I loved all of them, even Spider-Man 3.
I kind of liked Spider-Man 3.
Really?
I
It
don't even
has
like
its
the hair on
merits.
it.
It has its merits. And when they rebooted the film 2 years ago, when they rebooted the character, it was a little too soon, but they pulled it off. The movie stood on its own terms. It was a little bit darker. Andrew Garfield was terrific as the new Peter Parker. So now that they got the origin story out of the way, again, this next movie, which I actually saw 30 minutes of at CinemaCon in Vegas, looks epic. The big question is, will Gwen Stacy die? Gwen Stacy, played by Emma Stone.
She's wearing something very particular.
She's
apparently.
wearing the same outfit that she wore in Amazing Spider-Man number 121 from 1973.
Uh-oh.
When she died at the hands of the Green Goblin. Will that play out in Amazing Spider-Man 2? I don't know. Who knows? But all I know is this movie looks fantastic. And more than anything, Spider-Man was always like a jokester in the comics.
Right.
He would taunt his adversaries with wise-ass remarks. So in the trailer for this film and in the footage I saw, he does that a lot. So I feel like more than any other Spider-Man movie so far, this one will really nail the character, and that alone is why it is my most anticipated movie, summer 2014.
You know what it is I love about being Spider-Man? Everything.
That was brilliant that you were able to peg that with him.
How did you guess,
It's Scott
Kevin?
Mance, for God's sake.
How did you guess?
Spider-Man!
Well, can you do that with me? Can you figure that? Can you?
Okay, now I tried earlier, and now I think it's going to be Sin City 2.
Oh, that's on my list, but it's not in the top 3.
Ooh.
I can't wait to see Sin City 2.
it, though?
But
What is
that's-
top of your list?
Actually, at the top of my list, Edge of Tomorrow, starring Tom Cruise, who, despite all of his eccentricities, the man is talented.
Yes, he is.
I adore Tom Cruise.
He makes great movies.
He delivers.
Always. Always. Love
And
his movies.
This movie with Emily Blunt and the sci-fi. Emily Blunt, this is gonna rock.
I'm with you about Tom Cruise. I think he makes great movies. I thought Oblivion was an underrated movie.
Me too.
Yeah, he gets a lot of press for his antics and jumping on a couch and all that stuff. Say what you want about him. First of all, he's like the nicest guy in Hollywood next to Tom Hanks.
Wow.
And he makes great movies. I loved Oblivion, and I'm with you. I can't wait for Edge of Tomorrow.
Can't wait for Edge of Tomorrow.
What I am about to tell you sounds crazy. But you have to listen to me. Your very lives depend on it.
Can you guess what my top choice is?
Jupiter Ascending.
Darn it, Scott! Yes, Jupiter Ascending with Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis,
Yeah.
but directed by the Wachowski siblings. They don't always hit the mark, but I'm one of the few that loved Cloud Atlas. I also love their specific, sequences in that film. So what I like about it is that they're taking a completely original sci-fi/fantasy world and creating something brand new for us. It's not based on a novel. It's not a remake of an old movie. It's fresh and new, and that's what I'm excited about.
I'm cautiously optimistic about Jupiter Ascending because, yes, it is the Wachowskis. Yes, they're great producers of spectacle, but I feel like they haven't made a great movie since The Matrix. Now, darn it, that's a great movie, okay? But it's 15 years old. The other Matrix sequels were not very good. I didn't care for Speed Racer or Cloud Atlas.
What about Bound? I mean,
Well, Bound was before The Matrix.
I know, but that shows that they can work with character
I
and they
agree.
can work with details also.
And I
so-
think Cloud Atlas has probably taught them a little bit too about complexities, and because this isn't clearly going to be as complex as Cloud Atlas was, I think they're going to be able to take what they learned from that and kind of pare it down to make an original, complex but concrete story.
Make sure this is the right one.
It's her.
Good. Kill her.
But don't you think that the similarities between this and The Matrix are the same? Like, Mila Kunis is the one. I mean, wasn't that The Matrix?
But there's two. She's
Oh, there's
targeted
two?
by the
Oh,
queen of
okay.
the universe.
Right,
The queen of the universe.
Yes.
All right, I'll go with that.
I'm like Melissa for who? No. Give me Jupiter. Give me
Yeah.
Jupiter.
Well, in keeping with the superhero theme, I'm going to go my second most anticipated movie of the summer, X-Men Days of Future Past.
Oh.
There have been a lot of X movies, a lot of X spin-offs, but what makes Days of Future Past really special is the return of director Bryan Singer.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was the poster that they have for this movie, which is fantastic.
Well, the poster is fantastic, and the fact that you're uniting the original X-Men from the other films with the earlier counterparts from First Class alone is worth the price of admission, I'm assuming. But let's not forget that the first X-Men, when it came out in 2000, it launched this whole modern superhero movie that has sustained itself now for 14 years and topped itself with SpiderMan, with The Dark Knight, with the Iron Man, with the Avengers. So I feel like returning Bryan Singer to the fold, because he directed the first two films, is a very, very big deal. Singer kind of stumbled with Superman Returns and what was it, Jack the Giant Slayer, and I feel like this is going to be like him putting on a pair of comfy slippers and doing what he does best, working with these people, and just again having the two casts of the X-Men together. It comes out Memorial Weekend. All hopes are that X-Men is going to mark the spot.
So my second most anticipated film for the summer is Chef. This is written, directed, and starring Jon Favreau,
Yay.
who knows how to do small, funny, intimate character pieces. We can go back to Swingers and...
Made.
Oh, Made. Made is fun.
Made's
and
good.
The back of the limo. I mean, this is a guy who... he's a talent. He's an incredible talent. And it's a story about a guy who falls on rough times and he decides to start a business with a food truck.
Right.
It's got other great talented actors in it. John Leguizamo, Bobby Cannavale, Robert Downey Jr.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. I just think that this is going to be an opportunity for us to just have fun on the screen while people eat good truck food.
I think the thing about Chef that makes me look forward to it is sort of the return of writer Jon Favreau to his roots a little bit. So I'm with you. I can't wait to see Chef as well.
Food truck's a great idea. We're talking about a white-on-white 88 Chevy Grumman food truck. It's a blank canvas for your dreams. I'm gonna have him pull it around.
Thank you.
Don't thank me till you see it.
Well, I'm going to stick with the sci-fi a little bit here, and I'm cautiously optimistic about this one, only because they moved the release date from March to July 2nd, so I feel like the studio has a good feeling about this one. It's Earth to Echo.
What's Earth to
Earth to Echo is
know
a
this.
found footage style film, but it's a mashup of Goonies and E.T. with a little Super 8 thrown in. So it's these kids who are kind of going off on their little bikes, and they come across this crash something or other or whatever, and they find a little alien-esque thing they named Echo, and then of course the government comes after him, and it's E.T. all over again.
That does
But it's
sound
all
like E.T..
filmed by the kids.
Oh,
Right?
interesting.
And I'm a fan of the found footage genre. I know people don't like it, but for some
I like
reason,
it. When it's
I
done
like it.
right, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I like
I'm
it.
good. The other reason I'm excited is because I grew up in the 80s, so I grew up with Goonies and E.T. and all these Spielberg kind of fantasy, even the bad ones like Explorers with Ethan Hawke. It just brings me back to like my childhood when I see these things. So I think it'll be nostalgic for the older folks, and I think kids will probably end up liking it. So I think it could be something big.
You understood us.
20 questions with an alien.
Are you from space?
Do you eat humans?
Are you trying to get home? Will you show us where you live?
Well, keeping with the sci-fi element, my third most anticipated movie of the summer is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I love the Apes films that ran between 1968 and 1973. Did not like Tim Burton's 2001 reboot, which is why I was not really looking forward to the 2011 reboot. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That movie returned the apes' foundation to its provocative roots as allegories for the times. It was provocative, it was very exciting, and where the original 1968 movie was groundbreaking for its makeup design, the 2011 version was a landmark film because of computer-generated special effects. Andy Serkis using motion capture to capture the lead ape, Caesar.
It's not just about power, it's about giving us the hope to rebuild and reclaim the world we lost.
Okay, so for my third most anticipated film for the summer, I'm going to go back to sci-fi, and I'm going to go into the future, but we're going to be a little dystopic, masquerading as utopic, with The Giver. What I find particularly interesting about this is that it stars Jeff Bridges and Meryl Streep, so you know you're going to get some really great, fantastic performances in this. Jeff Bridges got the rights to this book like 20 years ago.
Oh.
And
no kidding.
Yeah, he was looking at wanting to do this as a project for his dad, Lloyd Bridges.
Oh, wow.
And when Elder Bridges passed away, Jeff Bridges held on to the rights. Now, 20 years later, he's old enough to play the role of the giver to the 12-year-old young man who is called the receiver.
The dude abides.
I cannot prepare you for what's going to happen.
Kevin, what is your third most anticipated pick for the summer?
I don't know much about this movie because I just saw the trailer recently, but it has some elements that I'm excited about. First of all, it's another found footage movie, which I like.
Okay.
But it's called Into the Storm. And it's basically about a bunch of high school students who get caught in some sort of superstorm and film people getting, sucked into the tornadoes and roofs ripping off of buildings, not helping anybody, of
Shouldn't
course.
they be holding on for their lives?
That's what I find so hilarious about it. I'm like, is nobody helping anybody else? Fingers crossed. It'll be good.
Why don't we recap our most anticipated choices for the summer? Why don't you start with your first choice?
Jupiter Ascending.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
And I am looking forward to Edge of Tomorrow. So we're going to have a great summer, guys.
All right. Cheers. Cheers to the Amazing Spider-Man.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, the
Godzilla.
Equalizer.
Godzilla.
The Equalizer.
Blended.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
appropriate that the Turtles love pizza because this movie looks like it has extra cheese. Oh! Oh!